Hey class, video numero tres, that's Duolingo for 3. We're at question 12, graph the quadratic function and find the features listed below. All right, so the x-intercepts, well that's easy because it's in factor form, intercept form. So the x-intercepts are -2, 0, and 4, 0. You can even plot those, -2, 0, and 4, 0. The vertex occurs at the average of the two intercepts. So the vertex occurs, and that's the axis of symmetry, actually. It's going to be -2 plus 4 over 2, which is 1. -2 plus 4 is 2, divided by 2 is 1. And if you plug 1 into this, you get y equals -1/3. 1 plus 2 is 3. 1 minus 4 is -3. So it's, you got 2 negatives, 9, 3. So it's at 1, 3. That is the vertex. So 1, 1, 2, 3 is right there. All right. That's going to be pretty good because if you go over 1, you have to go down a third. It's really a pain in the butt. So I'm going to be very happy if you just do this. Okay. And that's good enough for the graph. Now, write the equation in general form. Means we have to multiply together the x plus 2. Oops, that's a third, not a half. X minus 4. Well, x plus 2 times x minus 4 is going to be x times x is x squared. X times -4 is -4x plus 2x is -2x. And 2 times -4 is -8. And so in general form, you're going to have fractions, but it's just multiplying in the -1/3. You have plus 2/3 x plus 8/3. Yes, it's all kind of fractioning, but it's not that hard. So again, the hardest one I felt was the one way up here with the, wherever that interest rate one was. That was painful. All right. To solve the quadratic equation by factoring, remember, to solve any of these polynomials, quadratics, you have to have it equal to 0. So the first thing I would do is add 24 to both sides. We got that. Then by factoring, we're looking for a product that multiplies to 24 but adds up to -10, and that happens to be -6 y -4. So you can write this as x minus 4, or I guess if I want to, so I don't confuse you, it's x minus 6, x minus 4 equal to 0. You get 6 and 4 as your solutions. And that's pretty straightforward. The next one, it's a little bit crazy because it's 3x squared plus 3x minus 6. Notice there's a number in front of the x squared. First step of any factoring is always to GCF. So we can actually pull out a 3. And we have that. And then we can factor that. What multiplies to -2 adds up to 1. That's going to be 2 and -1. So it's x plus 2, x minus 1 equal to 0. So we got -2 and 1. All right. Now, solve the quadratic equation by completing the square. That's the painful one. But it's a procedure, and it's pretty straightforward. First step. First, you got to move the constant over. So we're going to subtract 9. So over here, I have a -9. Now, here's what the procedure is. You take half of whatever number is sitting in front of that x, of the linear term. What's half of -4? That's -2. We're going to square it and add to both sides. Make sure you add to both sides. Now, you don't even have to think about the left. Right here, that's just going to be x minus whatever that number is inside the parentheses, which is a -2 squared. And then you do have to figure out what -9 plus 4 is, which is, that's -9 plus 4. Unfortunately, that's negative. So it equals a -5. Okay, now, before you say there's no solution, there is a solution. it's going to be imaginary, like my friends. So we're going to take the square root of both sides, and we get the square root of -5, which is imaginary. And we get that, plus or minus I square root 5. And so x equals 2 plus or minus I square root of 5. You could also write that as x equals 2 plus or minus square root 5. If you write it like this, make sure the I is not underneath the radical. Either way is the correct answer. Now, question 16. Notice this is the ugly one, but it's not that hard. I even give you the hint. It's going to be on your quiz too. Complete the square for x and y. So completing the square means we have x squared minus 8x. Now my focus is on the x. Plus, now I take half of the -8 and square it and add. Now, if I do that on the left, don't forget you have to do it on the right. I'm going to move this 5 over too, so it's 5 plus. Sorry, I should have said that. I moved that 5 over, so it's 5 plus -4 squared. Notice I didn't write it as -8 divided by 2 because that's what -4 is. Then we got to do it to the y. All right, I got to move this over. Now, we get plus y squared plus 4y. Now we take half of the number in front of y, which is 4, square it, and add to both sides. And 4 divided by 2 is 2, so it's 2 squared. All right. What's neat is on the left, it just comes out to be x minus, let's see, 8 divided by 2 is 4. It becomes this. And then 4 divided by 2 is 2. And you have y plus 2 squared. And that equals whatever 5 plus 16 plus 4 is, which is, 25. So that's the equation. And you can go ahead and put it right there. What's neat about this equation, you can see what the center is. The center is going to be at, remember your variables are liars, not just the x's. Okay, and the radius is going to be the square root of 25, which is 5. Okay. Again, that's probably a little bit tricky, but actually the numbers are going to be pretty nice. It's not going to be that challenging, I hope. We'll see. All right, from the graph, determine the type and number of solutions. This is easy. So this first graph, I gave you all 3 types. You got 2 real solutions because there are 2 x-intercepts. 2 real solutions. Okay. The discriminant equals positive. Up here, you have, let's see, I'll do it in blue, kind of match that. Here you have D equals 0 because there's 1 real solution. Okay. And then this red one is D equals a negative, and there are no real solutions. Okay. Pretty easy by looking at the graph. 18, find the discriminant, then determine the type and number of solutions. Remember, the discriminant is just D equals B squared minus 4AC, which is just what's underneath the radical. Remember the quadratic formula. Right? That B squared minus 4AC is just what we call the discriminant. So, looking at this, B is 8, so it's 8 squared minus 4 times 3 times a negative 6. Well, 8 squared is 64. 4 times 3 is 12. It's going to be plus, because two negatives. 12 times 6 is 72. And that's going to be some number, whatever 64 plus 72 is. And 64 plus 72 is 136. So there are, since D equals a positive, there are two real solutions. Okay, solve the quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. We're getting close to the end. This is the end. My only friend, the end. Okay, so the quadratic formula I just wrote up there, you have to be able to make sure it's equal to 0. And then you can just say A equals 2, B equals 4, C equals negativo 7 or negative 7. And then X equals the opposite of B, plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. Okay, type it into your calculator. I always like to do what's underneath the radical first. So 4 squared is 16. So 16 plus 8 times 7, 16 plus 56. If I did that right, 16 plus 56, that's 72. So this is negative 4 plus or minus square root of 72 over 4. Now 72 over 4 square rooted. Let's see, 72 is 36 times 2. You could simplify this. I think I'll give you extra credit if you can. 36 times 2 over 4, which is negative 4 plus, now the square root of 36. Remember, we take the square root of that, and then the square times the square root of that. Square root of 36 is 6. Times the square root of 2. All over 4. And then if you factor out 2, again, if this is blowing you out of the water, don't stress too much because I'm not going to hold you to it. We get that. All right. So I would accept this. And if you can get to here, you'll get extra credit. Probably a point. All right. If you understood how to simplify the radical, then I suggest go for it. If you did not, then don't stress about it. Okay? On the next one, using the quadratic formula again, X equals the opposite of B plus or minus the square root of B squared. Notice I'm using parentheses. Minus 4AC all over 2A. Okay, that is 9 plus or minus the square root of 81. 4 times 3 is 12, times 4 is 48, that's plus 48 over 6. I don't know what 81 plus 48 is. It's 129. So it's 9 plus or minus the square root of 129 over 6. And I don't think you can simplify 120. I know 3 goes into it, right? Because 1 plus 2 plus 9 is 12. So 129 divided by 3 is 43. Yeah, you can't simplify it. So that would be the answer. All right? 21 is easy. If you're given one complex or imaginary solution, the other one is just the conjugate of it. So it'll be 2 plus 3i, and that's easy. Simplifying the expression, real to real, you add. So that's going to be 3 plus a negative 2 plus a negative 4 plus 5i. So that becomes 1 plus, look at that, 1i. All right. On B, when you subtract, you add the opposite. So 1 plus 1 is 2. 3i plus I is 4I. Now, when you multiply complex numbers, you got a FOIL. This would be the last problem because that was the bell. So this is negative 4 plus 12I plus 3I minus 9I squared. I just FOILed it. First, outer, inner, last. And then you got negative 4, 12 plus 3 is 15I. And don't forget, I squared is negative 1. So that's negative 9 times a negative 1. So that's negative 4 plus 15I plus 9. And that is 5 plus 15I. And there we go. And that will be it for now. I'll do 23 and 24 in the final video. Oop. And so it'll be 4 videos. Bye-bye.